Good afternoon, I'm Herman Green with the Midday News. A special welcome to those of you watching on onespotmedia.com. There's an interesting development in the standoff between the Ministry of National Security and O'Brien's International Car Sales and Rental Limited regarding the contract to provide used cars for the Jamaica Constabulary Force, JCF. The Ministry of National Security has formally reported O'Brien's to the fraud squad of the JCF. TVJ's Dashan Hendricks has been tracking the development and now reports.
Well, the fraud squad has been called in to help resolve the matter between the Ministry of National Security and O'Brien's Car Sales and Rentals. Now, O'Brien's was selected as the preferred contractor to supply the Jamaica Constabulary Force with some 200 vehicles to date. O'Brien's has supplied the force with 34 of those vehicles. It was supposed to supply an additional 66 earlier this year, but it has failed to do so as far as we know right now. And the Ministry of National Security is asking the fraud squad to step in and resolve the matter. Though O'Brien said it will be supplying those 66 vehicles at a higher cost than was originally agreed, and the government agreed with that and told O'Brien's to take the money for those 66 vehicles out of the initial $213 million it paid it to supply the 200 vehicles. The total cost of those vehicles is $426 million, but O'Brien's was paid half up front, and they should take the money for the additional 66 out of the half $213 million and give the government back at $23 million. We don't know right now if that has been done. We'll be checking for the details, and we'll have more for you in primetime news at 7.
Thanks, Dashan. Now, the ministry has received proceeds of the 42 million Jamaican dollars performance bond and is actively pursuing the proceeds of the advanced payment guarantee. In a release sent to TVJ News this morning, former National Security Minister Robert Montague was quoted as saying that the ministry in its dealings did all that was required. The contractor failed to perform. The handing over of the matter to the fraud squad should be taken seriously by all contractors and should bring to bear the importance of performing on a contract. Mr. Montague's statement went on to say that he wanted to reiterate that at no point was a cent of the Jamaican taxpayers' dollars at risk, as these monies were protected by bonds, one of which was already received, and are in advanced discussions regarding the other. Technology Minister Dr. Andrew Wheatley has weighed in on the controversy surrounding UK-based data firm Cambridge Analytica. Following inquiries by TVJ News yesterday, Dr. Wheatley says he has decided to conduct checks to ascertain whether there are any links to Jamaica. Now, Cambridge Analytica has been in the international spotlight since March 17, when the London Observer and the New York Times reported that it acquired millions of Facebook users' personal information to build software that could target potential swing voters in political campaigns, including U.S. President Donald Trump's 2016 election bid. News has surfaced that Cambridge Analytica's parent company, SCL Elections, has worked in 32 countries across the Caribbean, Europe, South America, Asia, as well as Africa. Jamaica was not listed among the countries. Dr. Wheatley yesterday told TVJ News that he was not aware of Cambridge Analytica having any ties to Jamaica, but said he would be conducting a probe.
Seeing that you have raised the point, I will do the necessary checks to see if there are any links between us or any entities here in Jamaica and Cambridge Analytica. But of course, one has to bear in mind that the Cambridge Analytica is an institution that provides certain services. As such, if there are no breaches here, then it will be just like other business transactions.
Yesterday, the Trinidadian government said it will do everything in its power to investigate allegations made by a former employee of Cambridge Analytica that it had undertaken a project involving the harvesting of data on the country's population. Attorney General Faris Al-Rawi told the Parliament that the whistleblower, Christopher Wheatley, informed United Kingdom lawmakers that the company had undertaken the work in 2013 under the former People's Partnership Administration headed by Kamla Prasad, Dissessa. The ban is to be lifted on the staging of entertainment events in the community of Newmarket in St. Elizabeth as of April 1, but crime and violence continues to be a major issue in the Breadbasket parish. Richard Samuel, councillor for the Newmarket Division, said that he wants the community to come back to its core values so that the area can become a safer place.
The parish of St. Elizabeth is not a parish that entertains crime or violence. Newmarket Division don't entertain crime and violence. And we don't want it here. Any unwanted element. I am telling you, I want us to be like the citizens of Kilmarnock. You remember when there were some unwanted elements that came up there? They made sure that they provided the information to purge them, because that is not what Kilmarnock is about.
Mr. Samuel is calling for the community to take a stand against these criminals.
We cannot allow to lose this lovely division. We all are passionate about our place where we live. It is sad to hear that the entire division is under ban, but I think it's for a good reason. We cannot allow for certain elements to be here. And the sad reality of it, and I have to speak it loud and clear, some persons are entertaining these unwanted elements, and we cannot allow it.
The ban on entertainment events was imposed in January following the declaration of the state of public emergency in St. James. It was part of security measures as there were concerns that criminals fleeing the parish were seeking refuge in Newmarket. 2 Antiguan nationals who were arrested on Monday by detectives from the Narcotics Division in relation to the seizure of approximately 4 pounds of compressed ganja have been charged. They were charged yesterday with possession of ganja, dealing in ganja, taking steps preparatory to export ganja, and conspiracy. Those charged are 49-year-old Derek Edwards, football coach of Jennings Village, and 48-year-old Danny Benjamin, equipment coordinator of All Saints Village, both in Antigua. It's reported that on Monday, March 26, both men arrived at the Norman Manley International Airport, where they checked in to board a Caribbean airline flight to St. John's, Antigua. During security checks, anomalies were observed in a black traveling bag that Edwards had checked in. The narcotics police responded and the bag was searched in his presence. Compressed ganja weighing approximately 4 pounds was found concealed in a section of a knapsack. The estimated value of the ganja is 16,000 Jamaican dollars. Now, both men were interviewed in the presence of their attorneys and later charged. At least one stakeholder believes that entrepreneurship can help to reduce the social issues being faced by various communities in Jamaica. The British Council program will be engaging with secondary schools across the island as part of an effort to transform the lives of Jamaican youths. We have more in this report.
Changing lives by creating opportunities, building connections, and engendering trust. The aim of British Council Jamaica, a program that targets the youths of Jamaica. It's divided into 4 categories, one of which is social enterprise and youth engagement. This is geared towards improving access to employable skills for youths. Program Manager for Social Enterprise and Youth Engagement, Damian Campbell, believes this will help with the transition between school and the workplace.
We saw the need, importantly, to engage young people across the island to ensure that we knew what the needs were. What should a program that the British Council support look like?
Mr. Campbell added that through the support of the Education Ministry, the program will be launched in secondary schools across the island. The project will be fully implemented in the new financial year, which begins on April 1. However, some schools have started the program, which is already reaping good results.
This program has exposed our students to something new. They have also come to the realization that not everything that they see around them that look negative is negative. They can take the negatives and they can turn it into something positive. And that's the aspect of the social enterprise program that we're pushing.
Meanwhile, Jesus Johnston, the General Manager of Transaction ePIN Limited, TELP, added that the program will be a great benefit, especially to boys who are more vulnerable to social ills.
If the British Council continues along this trend, where they're exposing groups of boys to positive role models, helping them to build their self-confidence, helping them to understand there's more of the world. It's not where you start, but it's where you can get to, then you will help to make a difference.
The other areas of the program are arts and creative economy, basic education, and equality, diversity, and inclusion. Gillian Pearson, TVJ News.
Prime Minister Andrew Holness says with disaster relief from diplomatic allies becoming increasingly uncertain, the Caribbean region must ramp up its capacity of its own security forces to respond to threats. Mr. Holness pointed to the last hurricane season in which one of the region's main allies was also badly hit.
The United States, which would be the first point of response closest to the region, had to deal with ravaging hurricanes and weather events in Texas and in Puerto Rico. At the same time as Dominica and other countries in the Caribbean were also affected, their ability to respond was actually stretched. France had to be responding in the region, United Kingdom, Canada.
Mr. Holness was speaking yesterday as he opened a security summit in New Kingston. Mr. Holness said the conference should consider the issue as a priority as natural disasters pose a threat to national security.
These events have political, economic, and socially destabilizing consequences. Effective and efficient deployment of humanitarian assistance and disaster relief also contribute to regional security. Optimal response solutions will require leveraging the capacity of all countries to enable better preparation, clearer communication, and speedier and more appropriate types of response.
Jamaicans are among 271 immigrants nabbed by the U.S. Immigration and Customs Enforcement, ICE, during operations conducted at several locations including Florida, Puerto Rico, and the U.S. Virgin Islands. The enforcement action took place between March 18 and 22. In addition to Jamaica, the immigrants rounded up and detained pending deportation are from Cuba, Haiti, Anguilla, the Bahamas, Dominica, the Dominican Republic, and Guyana. Of those arrested by ICE during the enforcement action, 99 had criminal records that included felony convictions for serious or violent offenses such as murder, first-degree murder, vehicular manslaughter, rape, child neglect, and drug charges. Now, others were arrested for minor infractions including driving under the influence, harboring undocumented immigrants, traffic offenses, and trespassing. We go down to news overseas. A fire at a police station in the Venezuelan city of Valencia in Carabobo State has left 68 people dead. The blaze reportedly started after prisoners set fire to mattresses in an attempt to break out on Wednesday. Police used tear gas to disperse relatives who surrounded the station after news of the fire broke. Chief State Prosecutor Tariq Saab said an investigation into what happened would begin immediately. The situation has been brought under control. And we go down to sport. Defending champion Tivoli Gardens and Harborview will contest the final of the JN Visa Casafa Jackie Bell knockout after both had similar penalty kick wins in their quarterfinal on Wednesday night at the Constant Spring Field. In the feature game between Arnett Gardens and Harborview, both failed to register a goal during full and extra time. The game was then decided from 12 yards with former Arnett Gardens player Marcelino Blackburn scoring the winning penalty for a 3-1 win for Harborview. Meanwhile, in the opening match of the doubleheader, Kemar McGregor gave Waterhouse a 20th minute goal before missing a 69th minute penalty. Junior Beckford would later find the equalizer for Tivoli in dramatic fashion in time added. With the score locked at 1-1 after regular and extra time, Tivoli would prevail 3-2 on penalties to book their spot in the final. And the final is set for April 11. And that's the Midday News. I'm Herman Green. Join us at 7 for the Primetime News Package. On behalf of the news, sports, and production teams, good afternoon.